Ready. Wow. Mark, are you there? Good morning, everybody. Just waiting for our guest of honor to show up. It's Sunday Funday. We get started.
Here I am.
Oh, guest of honor. Thanks for showing up today. Very nice of you. Lily on the couch. Got Kirsten on our mat.
Okay.
Mark and Val. We've got Sunday Funday underway.
Let's go.
To get it started today. Can everyone hear me okay? Thumbs up. I'm going to take that as a thumbs up. Yes. All right. To get started today, we're going to come to the center part of the mat. Today, we're going to step our feet in so that the feet connect. You might feel your ankles also connected.
Wait, Val, can you hear?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Okay, good.
So as we step our feet in together, we're going to take a nice, beginning orientation of body weight bearing. I'd like you to bring as much straightness in through the legs.
Whoops.
And as much length through the upper body. And then also through the neck. If you can imagine a strength. Someone got their speaker on?
It's okay. Stu just joined.
All right. If you can imagine a string kind of tied up to the very top part of the head, pulling skyward and kind of lifting and pulling through all of the joints of the body. With that body relatively straight and long, I'd like you to pull the shoulders up to the ears and open your palms to face forward. And make an effort to spiral your thumbs backwards, just to give a little engagement, recruitment of the muscles across the back. I'm going to try to help realize a little bit of extra stabilization of the spine by pulling the belly button in toward the spine. We're not really hollowing it out, we're kind of making an activation of contraction, which is pulling along that length, getting that six-pack muscle active. But while we're doing that simultaneous, we're kind of pulling in the belly button. We keep that nice orientation. Now, if you can, almost straighten through the knees, not locking them out, but giving a nice push to the heels of your body into the earth. And then if you've ever seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa, we're going to practice our version of it by simply leaning forward until you feel the orientation of weight bearing heavily into the front part of the foot. And then I'd like you to rock and roll from side to side. Find a balance between left and right. And then when you have that balance, I'd like you to drift backwards, kind of like we're straightening up the Tower of Pisa until you feel the heels more bearing in weight than the front part of the foot. Some of us feel we might topple. I like you to kind of get a grasp of the body so we don't do that. And then between the front and back, I'd like you to oscillate and then find a balance of weight between front and back. And when you have that, take your hands, sweep them forward, palms face the sky, sweep your arms out, using the thumbs to pull back everything without hitting your partner in the face. Separate your fingers and then use your fingers to pull along the arms and almost like you're trying to pull your full arm itself out of the shoulder carriage. Sweep the hands back forward, pinkies touch, and then draw your elbows back into the body. Trace along your ribs, let the fingers separate, but pull back deeply. And then inhale, bring the fingertips, forearms together, extend out. And now put a little bend in the knee. And as you do so, I'd like you to pull your butt back. You should feel a little tension, hopefully, starting to form in the low back. Let's take that and keep it active. And if you can, initiate a little more six-pack engagement, shortening the length of the muscle, making those six-pack muscles active, and then hollowing out, pulling them in towards the spine. Keeping that active now, pull the elbows, trace them around the body, pull them all the way back. And as you inhale, slide forward and extend all the way out. And do that a few more times. We're just really warming up the body right now, kind of getting the spinal column active with muscle, getting those shoulders active. And we got our legs more active in a couple seconds. As we extend the arms out this time, hold out, take the knees and bend them, so kind of coming into a chair-like position. As you come down, I like you to try to keep your butt back and keep those six-pack and hollowing out muscles active, lowering down and then raising back up. When we rise to a tall standing person, draw the elbows back, squeeze the elbows together. As you inhale, extend forward, all the way out, and then sit it down. Come back up to standing. Try to keep your thighs connected. Want to keep those inner muscles nice and active. Squeeze elbows, extend arms, sit it down, squeeze the thighs as you lower, and come back up to standing. Bring hands over heart. Take the left foot, step it forward. Step that right foot back slightly, nicely. Make sure you have a nice separate distance or distance between left and right that makes you feel balanced. Take a little gander back at that heel on the right foot and make sure it's not rotated out to one side or the other. Try to get it straight up. So you're on the ball of that big right toe, right heel aiming up at the sky. Take the right heel now and drive it down into the earth. And then come back up under the toes. Just that slight movement is going to play with your balance a little bit. I'd like you to get control of it. Let's do it a few more times. And then hold the foot down, extend the arms back out. Lean in a little bit and raise the arms up. See if you can get them a little higher. As you inhale, a little higher. And then as you exhale, bring hands over heart. Step the right foot forward and the left foot back. Finding that ideal setup, same setup, opposite side. Take the left heel, drive it to the earth. Up onto the left toe. Now you might need to step your foot in a little bit just to get that heel down, make contact. That's fine. Some of us have different range in that lower body extremity known as the ankle. Now let's drive that left heel down, extend the arms out, lean the body in and raise the arms up, raise them a little higher. Inhale, raise a little higher, and then bring hands over heart and step the back foot forward. How's your warm-up going so far? Good. Now, stepping the feet wider out to the sides of the mat, taking the toes, angling them in, and trying to create now a pull of the legs together. So we have relatively straight legs. Like you can imagine, you're kind of pulling together, almost like you have chopsticks. So the legs are relatively straight, not bent at the knee. You have a nice inner thigh muscle activation. As you keep that, draw your hips backwards and extend the hands out. Now, for me, I have a little tremble going on, and hopefully you have the same type of experience. Let's hold on that tremble, those inner thigh muscles. You've got that big squeeze going. As you inhale, raise the arms. And as you exhale, sweep the hands down, back, opening, spiraling the thumbs back, opening the chest. Take a big inhale, so forward, raising the arms as high as we feel comfortable, and then oscillating between back and front. Do it a few more times, all the while squeezing those legs together. And then sweep up, stand tall, take a big inhale as you step your toes forward, the face forward, that is, and then release the breath, folding all the way down. Take a couple breaths, hang out. Now, excuse me, what we find, or hopefully are finding, is a nice pull on the back of the legs. Gluteals are extending, hamstrings extending. We're going to add a little more tension to those muscles by drawing the hips backwards.
Remember early practice weight bearing, sensation of feet or wind within the feet. So your heels right now have a pronounced weighting. If you can now, bend both knees and keep the back relaxed. It's similar flexion. We're not extending it. So I like to push your hips back up in the sky and then oscillate, bending the knees and then pushing the hips back up. So we're really doing knee flexion and knee extension. And you should feel a nice tension or pull as the hips rise and a relaxation, those hamstrings as the knees bend. Just help exercise those muscles. Now hold the hips up, push them up high, take your upper body extended to a flat back. This time, as we bend the knees, I like you to keep the back in extension and then push back up. And as you lower this time, step your palms onto your shin. Now, using the hip as the hinge point, so your ankles and knees remain relatively unchanged, unhinge through the hips, extend through the spine. We should bring some weight bearing back into the posterior chain by gripping the butt back. We have that activation, that six-pack muscle, where we're pulling the belly button in, keeping both of those muscles active. Sweep the hands forward, about chest height, shoulder height, whatever's best for you. Stand tall, and as you stand, try to spiral the heels externally or away from the body. And as you lower, I like you to try to pull the legs together, not cinching at the knees, kind of like a chopstick, nice and straight, even though the knees are bending front to back, they're not folding into the center line. Spiral the heels out as we rise, pull the legs together as we lower. Spiral as we rise, pull the legs as we lower, pull down. Sweep the hands to the sky. Take a big inhale, exhale, pull down, walk it out to plank, step it back to plank. Whatever you need to do to get there. Pull your hips up and back to down dog. Drive the heels to the earth. And back to your high plank position. Lower down onto your knees. Separate them to the width of the mat. Let your feet come together. A little bit of party time for them. As you draw your hips back to the heels of the feet. Walk your hands forward. Enjoy a little child's pose. Take a couple of breaths, enjoy that nice lengthening, muscles that interact from the back to the shoulders, relax. So enjoying this. Let's talk a little bit about our practice. Our bodies, as we age, deep and compress, which brings a lot of effective work into the skeletal system and joints. So our practice today is to take it out of those two areas, skeletal system and joints, and bring it into the muscles where the work of the body really belongs. And what we're doing is really practicing how to decompress our joints, clean out the bones, the energy where it really effectively work the muscles. Next breath. Up onto all fours. Set your feet out to the sides of the mat. So we have the pinkies and knees and feet all to the side of the mat. I'd like you to take your heels and push them backwards. You just feel a little bit of pull underneath the bottom part of the foot, on the underneath side of the foot. As you keep that, I'd like you to try to take your six-pack muscle and make it strong. And follow up the belly, those six-pack muscles active. And then we're going to add on to this by seeing if we can lift ever so slightly the knees up off the earth. And then we're going to float them down gently. Now, I know for some of us, this might be a hard move to do. We could be doing something else, like basically down dogs, where the knees relatively straight. Those of us that can be in this position, just going to simply rise up and down. And then we can hold up, pull the hips up. Everyone's going to meet down dog. Dog on it. There. Drive the heels to the earth. Up onto the tippy toes. Do that a few more times, up and down. Then everybody step your feet forward. Separate the feet to the width of the mat. Step your toes into the center line of the mat. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, straighten the legs as best you can. On the next breath, as you release it, bend both knees that will come in towards the center line of the mat. Then hinging through the hip or unhinging, come into a squat position. Stand tall, arms salute the sky. And as you exhale, release the arms down to the side of the body. Good morning, everybody. Sunday Funday is underway. We're all warmed up. Now, six pack, engage in those muscles. So if someone were to punch you in the tummy, you would engage them. While you keep that active, I like you to try to pull in that whole structure, that big muscular structure you got there, in towards the spine. And as you do so, I'd like you to take your hands and put them on top of a six-pack muscle. And you notice my elbows are out to the side. Now, if our shoulders are rotated inwardly, I like you to kind of expand through the chest and almost use the elbows as pull points, where we're kind of pulling out the shoulder and pulling out the arms. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, keep the elbows sweeping forward, but try to oppose the movement forward of the shoulders with the muscles of the shoulders and the back. So we have two opposing movements, elbows forward, shoulders back. Now hold on that and fold a little bit forward. I'm going to bring in some of our lower body into this exercise. Right now, that might have added some tension into the low back, spine. Make sure it's a tolerable amount. So how far you lean is depending upon the work that region can take. So I'd like you to get a nice lean where you feel the tension sufficient for your body. Now, inhale, rise, hold up on this. While we're in this position, I'd like you to take your toes and try to rotate them internally so we get those inner thighs nice and active. Take a big inhale, exhale, fold, and keep active with the inner thighs. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower, butt pulling back. We're hinging through the hips. Inhale, rise, and hold. Step the feet forward as you extend the arms straight forward. Crazy exercises today. Hopefully we get the benefit of this. These are things you can do when you're by yourself too. You don't have to do them in class. Now, take your knees and bend them. What we tend to do is our brain patterns movement. We don't think about how we move. So when we have a movement pattern that's less optimal, and our brain's executing it, we run a risk of making muscles more dominant in exercises or movements than they should be. So today, like we were talked earlier, working on how to decompress or take stress out of the joints. Stress that's caused by a difference, now sink a little lower, by muscle interaction disparities, front and back, working against each other, with each other. Now, back up, stand tall, take a breath. Imagine you got some strings tied to the shoulders, hold them out, pull both shoulders off the center line, six-pack engagement, hollow it out, slowly lower down, keeping that nice activation, a little lower, hold on this, adding progression to this. We're going to simply raise the hands just a couple feet, no, a couple inches, just testing it. Now stand tall, and then lower the arms. Spiral the glutes backward. As the chest opens, the back is actively working right across the shoulders. Now, keep the arms sweeping backwards, six-pack, hollow out, heels spiraling away from the center line of the body, knees bending by keeping in the line, not buckling in or extending out. Going to lower the butt down. Make sure you're not flipping that tailbone back. I want you to keep that spine nice and stable.
This time we sweep the arms forward, palms reach for the sky. As you inhale, stand tall, reach for the sky. As you exhale, fold all the way down. Walk or step down to plank. Now, hover up. High. And do that 4 more times. And we'll make high plank. Pull the hips up and back to down dog. Step or jump your feet forward. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, bend both knees and lower that butt. Sweep the arms forward as you unhinge and stand tall. As you release the breath, bring hands over heart and step sideways to the mat. So far back. Now, you're going to separate your feet nice and wide. This is what I call windmill. Keys to making this a different exercise than how we normally practice is making sure that we have a posterior chain focus. So to do that, we practice wading into the front of the foot, getting the proprioceptive information. Basically, our toes are saying, hey, I got a lot of pressure here. And then drifting backwards. Getting the heels nice and active with the weight there. Take the hands, put them on the hips. Take your butt, pull it back. Keep the legs relatively straight. Very important that we're not bending the knees as we fold the hips. Simply chop point through the hips. Tabletopping the back if we can. As you inhale, raise the body. And when we raise, I want you to avoid the push forward. Front body muscles like to take over this exercise. I like you to kind of work now to find the gluteals and the hamstrings. You might feel that tension. That's fine, that's normal. They're working hard to stabilize the hips as we go through hip hinging. So this is a great gluteal exercise. Brings focus to the gluteals. And it's really a good innervation exercise. The innervation of the muscle. You know, the nerves that you sit on all day when you're sitting on your rear end, right? Well, this is a good way to kind of get some blood flow into the muscle, get those nerves a little more attentive to recruiting enough muscle to allow the hips to hinge. Kristen's going to stop talking. Pulling halfway forward, holding down this time. And we're going to step the fingers and let them drop to the earth. Time on my fingertips. Some people can get flat to the palm. It's not important. What's most important here is what is working. I'd like you to draw your butt backwards. Keep the legs relatively straight. Get a nice tension with the hamstrings and maybe a little bit of the inner thighs. Now hold on this. Enjoy it for a couple of seconds. It's work to keep the back extending. And that's also work to keep the neck extending. So you are really kind of pulling your spinal column long from the back of the head at the top. Let's make the chest proud and push through the shoulders while you keep the back extending. Strip the hips back a little more if we can. And let's walk the hands forward to enable us to kind of cantilever and get a little more weight back towards the heel. Now, folding is hugely posterior and kind of medial in a thigh-oriented position. Got a lot of muscle in play here. We're going to bring some of our spinal muscle to action. And you'll take the left hand, sweep it out sideways. See if you can lift it about shoulder height. Now, sweep that left hand back to the earth. Reset the body. A lot of times we like to drift forward and let those front body muscles be more active in what we're doing. Keep the focus on the back side. Take the right hand, reach it up, and then lower down. And now we're going to bring a little bit of your pace. Alternate left to right. And try to avoid that forward shift of the body. Believe it or not, the weight of your arm is a lot of work for the small muscles, the spinal column, support your spine.
This is a little exercise for them. So we're really kind of working those muscles right now. You might feel tension forming in the low back, that's fine. If it gets too much, take a break. Now, in the next go round, I'm going to come back to the left side, lift the left arm, and now we're going to work more of the rotational muscle of the spine by lifting the left shoulder to the sky and returning the arm back to the earth. Same thing, opposite side, and then lower down. Still a few reps on each side. So this is a great decompression exercise, believe it or not. Now, if you want to meet in down position, walk your feet back together, foot shoulder width apart. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold it back down. Inhale, extend and unfold the reverse swan dive. All the way back up. Oh, bring hands over heart, step towards the front part of your mat. Center, find your spot there. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, push the hands forward, interlock the fingers, lift the palms. So they have an external rotation. Our shoulders are now rotated internally. So I'd like you to kind of work the external rotators. Pull the shoulders backwards as you extend the arms out. Now, take a big breath in. As you exhale, take your legs like the chopsticks and try to pull them together. So you have a big inner thigh muscle on each leg, nice and active. Add into that, take your six pack, engage it. Follow at the tummy. Take your arms, push them forward a little more, draw your butt backwards. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, try to raise the arms as you push the palms forward. Take a big breath in, try to do a little higher, and then bring hands over heart, stand tall. Next. Inhale, extend to the sky. Exhale, fold, and have a seat. Oh, my goodness. And grab some water. Cheers to all. Cheers to you. Quick note, we were debating on whether to hold the class outside or inside today. And right now it's like torrential rain. So I think it was a good call. Inside, that is. Now, let's bring your feet. I have positioned so where the heels are on the front corners of my mat, just to kind of give me a gauge of width. Wider than shoulder width is great. Now, internal rotation, that's when we rotate internally. And external is the opposite. So I'd like you to externally rotate. So we have basically a bend in the knees and ankles, dorsiflexion. That's when the foot flexes towards the shin. So we're going to dorsiflex the feet, be nice and tall. Bring your hands over heart. Now, big breath in, push your hands to the sky. Should feel relatively easy. These are pretty much muscles in the way and shape and form that we sit most of the day. So this is should feel relatively comfortable. Now, as we bring hands over heart, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to internally rotate. And that's very important here that we don't draw the knees in. I like you just to take the leg and rotate it so that knee, toe has the same line. But we're all inwardly rotated. Bring the hands back over heart. Keep that inward rotation. So try to rotate the whole leg right from the joint so you feel those inner thigh muscles and extend the hands back up to the sky. Separate the hands this time. And then fold forward over those knees and the thighs. See if you can get your baby fingers to that big toe. As you inhale, raise those arms back up. And then Pilates style, as you work to rotate inwardly, the legs, lower the upper body. Oh my goodness, there we go. Now, take your heels and step them in just close enough where the big toes can connect and your thighs can also connect. Now, if you've got a less than 90 or 90-degree angle in knee, I'd like you to step the heels out to give you an obtuse angle. And the farther out to a point, the better. So as far as you can go, still be able to feel your inner thighs actively working. Let's hold on that. Let's sweep the arms all the way back up over the head and keep those thighs squeezing together. We've called into action those muscles, and at a certain point in time, they're going to start to tremble. And if they do, that's change happening. And then bring the hands back up over the chest. On the next breath, separate these, so externally rotate so that the toes and the knees aim up the sky. Keep the bend in the knees as we come up Pilates style. So if you have your camera on, you can see what we're doing. We do not have shortness of the knees, short angle, it's nice and long. Dive all the way through and extend, feel that nice release through the back. Up to seated, keep the legs in the same position. Take your thighs, rotate them in, keeping the arms extended all the way out, squeezing the legs together as you descend down. It's going to be a little different. All the way down, take the legs and extend them up and into the sky. Now, relative to keeping spinal stabilization, I'd like you to keep the legs relatively straight and then move the legs forward and back so you feel a sensation of as much of an area under the lower back. Feel the sensation on your skin of that low back connected to your back. Then when you find that spot, I'd like you to flex the feet and push the heels higher to the sky. You feel more pressurization of that area. Just talk about it. That low back nice and pressurized. Feel it? Good. Now, take your chin, drop it into your chest, and then reach your fingers up towards the toes. Hold. Take a breath. Release it. Lower the upper body. Keep the legs straight, heels pushing the sky. Chin drops to chest. Fingertips reach the toes. And then lower back down. And continue to do that. As we warm up these anterior front body muscle chains, which you feel those six-pack muscles nice and active, reaching high. On the next time up, hold up. Try to reach a little higher. Try to reach a little higher. And a little higher, and then release. And extend the legs all the way out. So lengthen out those muscles by extending the legs all the way out and then bringing the hands above head. And pull in opposite directions, the toes and the fingers of your body. All right, now bring your arms back down beside the body. Step your heels in an inch or two, so there's just a slight bend in the knees. We practice getting that low back of the mat. I'd like you to try to find that experience right now. Step your heels out about hip width apart, so a little narrower of a stance. And then rotate the thighs and the toes, the big toes in particular, it's a touch. Let's squeeze those thighs together. And then activate that six-pack muscle and hollow out the belly while you keep the six-pack nice and active. Take the hands reaching to the sky. And as you inhale, let's begin to feel the back of the head and the shoulders and up to the mid part of the spine. You're reaching straight up, as high up as you can. And then lowering back down while you keep those legs squeezing together. It's the variation of the other exercise that I love to do. This is focusing more on those abdominal muscles as we lower back down. I'm trying to catch my breath here. There's a lot of work, lifting, squeezing. Then as I lower back down, lower the arms, cupping the fingers and thumb. As we bring the arms to run parallel with the sides of the body, just the fingertips touching. Squeeze those thighs. They are harder work. Then for a while, add a little bit of more enjoyment to this whole process by taking your heels and pushing them into the mat. That's going to elevate those inner thigh muscles, keeping them highly active. Let's see if you can push and then create lift along the chain of muscle all the way up into your butt by trying to lift the hips up off the earth. Hold, push, hold, push, let go, and extend the arms and legs. All right. When you're ready, sweep the arms back up. Pilates styles, come up to a seated position. You're going to dive all the way through and enjoy that low back stretch. Come up to staff position. Yeah. Then you're going to sweep the legs around without hitting your partner. And come up onto all fours. Now, I know some of us have knees issues, so if you would like to go right into a plank position so your legs are straight, knees are not bent, of course, you can kind of go there right now. For us that are going to be able to get down onto the knees, I'd like you to come into a plank position to start. Lower the knees and then bring your forearms down onto the mat. I'd like you to walk your elbows forward. So hands, forearms, and elbows are sitting slightly forward. The shoulders, knees still on the ground. I'd like you now to lower the hips so the pelvis area kind of drops down onto the mat. And then I'd like you to step your elbows forward just a fraction more. Let's make the tummy active now. Engage the six pack. Pull the belly button up into the spine. Keep that active as you take your hips and pull skyward. Big activation. Holding as you breathe. Exhaling as you lower. Inhale, lengthen the spine and the back of the neck. Engage six pack. Pull it in towards the spine. Lift the hips up off the earth towards the sky. We have a tabletop type back. Please make sure you're not flipping your tailbone backwards. Get that six pack active, lower that pelvis back down, and extend the spine and neck. Beautiful. We're going to do this one more time. Six pack, 2 actions. Engage, suck it in, lift the hips, hold. Now come up off the knees. Lower the knees back down, up off the knees, lower them back down, up off the knees, hold them up, step your hands back, come up to plank. Beautiful. Pull up and back to down dog. Great job. Good work. Heels drive to the earth, tippy toes, and heels. Do it again. And then step the feet up and in between the hands. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Walk the hands forward. Draw that booty back. See if you can get some nice length through the spinal column as you inhale, extend to a flat back. Hold the head and let everything kind of relax. Bring opposite hand. So our hands to opposite elbow. Just hang out and enjoy. You might notice the length or lack of bend knee is more prevalent now. That's simply because as we vascularize, we bring blood flow into muscles. Functionality. Feel that nice lengthening. Try to work to a slightly straighter leg now. You can. Keep the upper body just relaxed. You're just kind of doing a nice lengthening through your gluteals and also through those hamstrings. On the next breath, let's bend both knees and bring the palms to the shin. Now, Elbows extend away from the center line of the body. Hands push to shin, spine comes to extension. The shoulders are slightly higher than tabletop. We're kind of looking down at the ground. I'd like you to check in with your legs. If you're externally rotating or internally rotating, I'd like you to make an effort to keep the knees and toes tracking over each other, but towards the same direction. Push the palms, extend the spine. Pull the back of the head as you do this. Keep that spine in extension. Pull your belly button in towards the spine. Try to get a little bit of flexion to the spine. Keep that flexion as you take the arms and sweep them forward. And now extend the upper spine. Spinal extension. You're in a squat, right? Lower down, raise up. And while we work this rotation, I'd like you to take your heels and try to spiral them away from the center line of the body, center line of the mat. We're going to raise and lower. Squat like. Outer thigh active. Oh, good flow of blood to those muscles. You can feel them hard at work as you try to keep those heels externally rotating. Lower down, raise up, lower down, hold, upper body time. We're going to bring it in by simply raising the arms. Take a big breath in, exhale, fold over those legs. Inhale, extend to a flat back as you straighten the legs. Exhale, fold back down, and have a seat. Oh,
It's hard to transition.
smooth for me. Was it smooth for you? All right. I'm going to finish up with a few stretches. Some of my favorites, oldies but goodies, all the way down onto your mat. I'm going to step my feet in today, so I get them as close to my butt as possible. I'd like you to try to rock your tailbone. So if you rock it forward, you should feel the low back lift. You rock that tailbone and tuck it under, you should feel the skin of the lower back connecting to your mat. Let's keep that connection. Let's get the upper body now. Make it long. Flatten out the shoulder blades. Now that you've got them nice and flat, I'd like you to take your right leg and cross it over your left. Try to keep the knees as close as possible. Right off the bat, my right hip, hopefully yours also, feels a little bit of tension, which is really stretching going on. So now that we've got that, I'm going to bring the left side right here. Release some of the tension on the right, but we're going to shift it over to the left hip by taking the right leg, pulling that left leg towards the right side of the body. So we're kind of rolling onto the right hip. Try to keep it on the right muscles, the gluteals, the side body muscles. And without drifting or pulling that knee over the ground, I want you to try to keep the tension. You go to the ground, you release any tension on the muscles. I'd like you to have that tension to pull the muscle, as opposed to just get to the ground. See, I got there, and I'm not doing it. All right, now we're going to add in, take the left hand, reach it straight up. And then today, I'd like you to reach it straight back. And I'd like you to take the right leg and try to pull the left knee without, of course, we talked about this, without bringing it to the earth. And then I'd like you to take the left arm and reach it back, like just make an effort. There's $1 million. If you just got a little closer to it, you could probably get a hold of it. And then sweep that left arm back up. And then right up the body. We turn the right foot back to where it started from. Take the left. Bring it down, or bring it across, I'm sorry. Before we rock over the other side, I'd like you to rock that tailbone, get that low back connected. Right off the bat, I think you feel that little bit of pull on that left hip. Now we're going to use that pull by pulling the left leg, pulling the right leg towards the earth. We're really kind of hinging on two areas. The hip area itself and the foot, we're just kind of using the ball, big toe, and the heel as the hinge points. Keeping the tension on that right side now. Reach the right arm to the sky. Straighten it out and sweep it backwards. Strength back. $1 million prize. See if you can get it. Try not to let the hand, that right hand that's reaching back behind your hurt. That's just releasing some of the effective work in its muscles. All the times we try to prove flexibility, but we actually limit what we do. Using the muscles, lengthening them out, make them more acceptable for movement techniques. It's the flexibility. Sorry. Right up. Right up the body. Release that left leg off the right, pull both knees up into the chest. Nice. Gluteal lengthening, release, that low back, nice little pull. Circle the legs. Be ready, circle them the opposite way. Let's pull the knees back up into the chest as you bring hands over kneecaps. Let's rock and roll front to back, all the way up to the seated position. I'm crossing my legs. You can have them straight, whatever feels to you right now. Get nice and tall through the upper body. Get that decompression going through the spine, just relaxing, but pulling all the while to make that spinal column feel good. Feel good? All right, let's bring hands over heart. Let me thank you for your great participation today. Thank you for joining us. And I hope you had a happy Monday, Sunday, or Sunday, Monday. Cheers.